Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
What a time to be a fan of the Vancouver Canucks, because guess what? Jake Guentzel coming to Vancouver to hang out with his new Vancouver Canucks teammates. Okay, this is the last time we try to trade for Jake Guentzel on Locked On Canucks, I think.
You think, unless RST Baines converts on power play 1. Oh, what's going on? The Surrey boy already playing for the Vancouver Canucks and already one of the main guys. This is something else, man. Anything is possible. Surrey, if you're listening to this, the future, it's right here. Speaking of which, let's do this. Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer for Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into today's episode, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It is your team, no, scratch that, your Canucks every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already, make sure you go subscribe or follow us for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. I also got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download that Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. All right, on today's episode of Locked On Canucks, we want to lead with Jake Guentzel because the Pittsburgh Penguins coming to town tonight. They are a few points out of a playoff spot, but they are what we said the Canucks were pretty much prior to this season, a bubble team at best. So is a team like that going to trade Jake Guentzel? It kind of seems likely. So we'll talk about Jake Guentzel, the Vancouver Canucks, what the package could look like if the Canucks are going to swing this deal, and what the ramifications are short-term and long-term. We're also going to talk about this bananas power play realignment that happened today at practice. RST Baines getting on the same power play unit as Elias Pettersson. Crazy stuff. We're going to dive into that. Maybe talk a bit about Phil Kessel, Phil the Thrill. Maybe he can help the power play as well. And then finally, we will talk about the GOAT of the week from last week. Speaking of which, I got to introduce the GOAT. This guy, he produces, edits like about 28 podcasts a week. Kyle Bowen, how's it going, brother?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Gotta do it all so I could be here. That's on Locked On Canucks, home of the West Coast bias, because, this show gets produced out of the Don't Dose Art Lab. And that's what we've been doing for years and years and years and years, and for days and days and days and days. Hey, speaking of the West Coast bias, we got to look after the people, okay? Actually, we got to make a little bit of a trade, okay? I told you guys about the contest, right, yesterday. We're giving away tickets, 2 tickets to the Kings game at the end of the month, March 25th. We'll announce the winner on March 22nd, okay? All you got to do is subscribe to the channel and also subscribe to the Discord, okay? My Discord. The link is in the bio below. Once you subscribe to the Discord as well, can you just send me a message so I can put your name in the raffle? Because I'm new to the system and I'm getting used to Discord. Speaking of which, though, that place is a fun time. Let's get writing about the Vancouver Canucks. Let's get talking about the Vancouver Canucks. And if you guys want to get a part of the show here on Locked On Canucks, you guys can leave us voicemails/voice messages on the Only Canucks thread, okay? OnlyFans, Trevor? How about Only Canucks? Straight up.
Oh, damn.
Anyways, link in the bio, okay? We got a lot to talk about and a lot to write about. For real. I can't believe this is happening, okay? More Jake Guentzel talk. An update on the whole Phil Kessel thing, too. All in all, I think the Canucks may still need some help, which is kind of bothering me. I'm not going to front, okay? Just a little. And then we got to talk about RST Baines getting some power play time. Rick Tocchet just moving with all these players instead of just doing the obvious, and that's keeping JT Miller and Quinn Hughes together like they usually do, okay? When things are going well. It ain't rocket science, Tocchet. It ain't Tocchet science. Oh, my God. Baines on the power play, and also, think about this, Myers on the power play, too. Anyways, let's start from the beginning, though, okay? Jake Guentzel, Trevor Beggs. You heard Elliot Friedman. Apparently, the Canucks are still interested in this guy. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I don't get it. How does it make sense? The Canucks haven't made the playoffs in years. They're just learning how to do this thing. And if they make a trade for Jake Guentzel, they will be like LA Clippers like, okay? They would have traded 3 first-round picks in a span of 12 months without proving anything, which is unreal. Unreal. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this? What is the percentage point you're at when it comes to, is this possible? And ultimately, I can't wait to react to this, but what's your package looking like if they do it?
I'm putting the odds on this at about 25%. And I think that means obviously the trade isn't likely, but it's possible. And you know what? Again, you can't count out this management regime. You know, they've been doing the most. And I mean that literally. They've made the most moves of any NHL team since the start of the season. Now, 25%, I mean, I say that because, again, I think the Canucks are all in this year. You know, there's a connection with Guentzel and this organization. I think Pittsburgh is, pretty thirsty to get off of him. And, reports today are that the asking price for Jake Guentzel is quote unquote ridiculous. This coming from Emily Kaplan of ESPN. And the report basically said it's multiple first round picks or a first round pick and equivalent. So I know I've mentioned this before, but I think if the Canucks are acquiring Guentzel, the package is going to look something like their 2025 first, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, and Ilya Mikheyev. Now, Kyle, I'm going to throw it to you. Would you do that trade? And I'm going to preface with this. Lekkerimäki is on absolute fire right now in the SHL. I think he's got 7 goals in his last 7 games. At 19 years old, he's already one of the best goal scorers in that league. Lekkerimäki is a valuable asset. And that's the guy. It's going to be a first in Lekkerimäki. And to me, probably Mikheyev to make the cap work. But Kyle, would you be doing that trade for Jake?
Honestly, bro, I can't stomach it. And it's kind of weird because I've been all in when it comes to the Cupper bust theory. I've been all in when it comes to me being pretty concrete with my feelings surrounding JT Miller having peak-like seasons, right? The Canucks are going to be stacked for a while, but how many of these type of years from JT Miller are we going to get? I think he's going to be good for a while, but how many more 100-point JT Miller seasons do we have? So again, with that in mind, I've been all in. This all being said, I cannot stomach that many first-round picks going out the door in a span of 12 months, and the best player out of that bunch is Guentzel, okay? Lindholm, Hronek, also part of that barrage of acquisition, right? But when I'm thinking of trading 3 first-round picks and other pieces in a trade, all in all, now I'm looking at it through a bigger lens. Dude, I need like a top 10 player back. I need a top 15 player back. You know what I'm saying? Not tier 5, tier 6 guys. Talented guys. Lindholm, Hronek, Guentzel, very talented, but I don't know how this team can not have a lot of playoff experience and be willing to go all in like this, which is pretty unordinary. Again, if you're trading that many first-round picks and prospects, you would be thinking that, again, they're getting one of the best players in hockey coming back the other way. Guentzel's really good. I get it, but I just feel as if it's not the right time. And, bro, come on, man. Come on, bro. The package aside, Trevor, let's believe in the boys, bro. Let's believe in these guys. And as fans, personally speaking, I think it's okay for this team not to do anything at the deadline because they've been really good all season and they've already made 2 big trades. Like, isn't that enough? Like, I don't know. That's the quota.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that an average deadline for the Vancouver Canucks would be adding 1 more depth forward and 1 more depth defenseman, right? Like, that's probably what they're going to end up doing. And that depth forward might just be Phil Kessel. And then you go and acquire another 6-7 defenseman, and then boom, bam, you're done. Now, when I think about Jake Guentzel, again, that would be giving up a lot of assets to trade for Hronek, Lindholm, and Guentzel. Now, obviously, Hronek's an RFA. You expect him to be in Vancouver long-term. But I think if you're swinging this deal, if you would give up a first in Lekkerimäki for Guentzel, you almost have to re-sign one of Guentzel or Lindholm, which becomes incredibly tough to do. But the argument is, do you let guys like Joshua and Bluger walk at the expense of signing a Lindholm or a Guentzel? But again, those guys are almost 30 and going to need long-term contracts. But again, you look at what this management regime did. They identified a guy in JT Miller who they believe can be a all-star player for a long time. And obviously, maybe don't expect him to be at this MVP level into his mid-30s, but be a good player for a long time. if they feel the same way about Lindholm or Guentzel, I could see them making this deal. And again, let's go back to the Hronek trade last year. This management team, when they were one of the worst teams in the league, made a move that a buyer makes. And everyone went, what the hell is going on? Including you and I.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. I don't think this trade's going to happen, but I give it about a 1 in 4 chance, maybe even a 1 in 3 chance, because I think this management team is bold. They're brash. They think this is the time to win. And again, this whole Elias Pettersson situation adds another layer to it all.
Yeah, it does. It does.
We talked about that on yesterday's episode as well.
And
So we'll
bro,
get too far into that.
I'll bring this up too, man. I've said it before, man. It is what it is, right? Things are gonna happen. Is it snowing right now, bro? It's snowing right now. I'm seeing snowfall. Okay. Anyways, let's say the Canucks do ultimately make a trade for Jake Guentzel, right? Because they're all in. He's a really good player. He fits the system. Tocchet knows him. And again, also they probably want him not going to the Vegas Golden Knights or the Edmonton Oilers, right? Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom, bam. So in theory, they've traded 3 first-round picks, a top prospect in Karamaki, who was just, Craig Button called this guy a top 10 prospect outside the NHL. His stock is rising. Let's say they moved all that and they don't reach the ultimate prize and B can't even extend Pettersson. Maybe they can recoup all those assets back, keep those guys, recoup all those assets back in a Pettersson trade. And I could see their minds moving like that too when it comes to any sort of asset management. Let me bring this up too, okay? Again, I was thinking about writing about this in the Discord, link in bio. You want to enter the contest? Do so, okay? If the Canucks trade for Guentzel, sign Phil Kessel, and this core wins the Stanley Cup, I don't give a beep. I don't give a what. I don't give a what. I don't give a... I'm becoming an American citizen. I'm doing it. I'm Team USA. If this core, Miller, Besser, Phil Kessel, Jake Guentzel, Thatcher Demko, Quinn Hughes, Dakota Joshua, etc. If these guys win the Stanley Cup, I'm becoming a USA citizen, and I'm also cheering for Team USA in the next Olympics.
Oh man, I don't know if I would go that far, but
dude, I'm Team Vancouver before Team Canada. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's a hypothetical. Would you would you be okay with the Canucks Stanley Cup if it meant cheering for Team USA the rest of your life? Okay, that's maybe a dumb hypothetical, but yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Do you have a package for Guentzel that's on your mind, or do you think it's something along the lines of a first with Karamak and Mikheyev?
I think it's exactly that, and I don't even think that's quote unquote. Maybe it's not enough. Like if they're wanting 2 first-round picks, you never know, right? You never know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I feel like Karamak is the equivalent.
That's true.
You're basically trading two first-round picks, and I think Karamak is arguably the biggest part of that package, right? Because the first-round pick in 2025, again, who knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a pretty sizable package for Guentzel.
Me too. I would have to say that's the most. And I don't even want to bring up Podkolzin's name because I don't think that he's gonna move the needle in a trade like that. Because again, Guentzel's really good. I talked a lot of ish. The Canucks trading all these assets, and if you move in hindsight, you could theoretically say that, bro, why not? This team could have saved all those assets and brought home I don't know, somebody how teams are looking to grab Pettersson. In theory, if the Canucks just held on to these assets, they could have used the same package to grab a player like Pettersson, because that's what you want when you're trading all this ish away. It's just the truth. But the truth also is that Jake Guentzel's a really, 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 really good hockey player, okay? It's just the truth. Okay, look at Giellis. I wouldn't bother with Guentzel. You got to sell the farm to get him. And then Angelo thinks that Guentzel is coming, man. Guentzel is coming. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing, Trevor?
Well, I just read a comment that said Trevor's package is huge, so it's just good timing. Good timing.
Mm-hmm. I wish I
got that. You know what else is huge, man? These changes to the power play are absolutely huge, man. What a package on those 2 units, man. Unbelievable. So we're going to touch on the power play on the other side. They talk a little bit about Phil the Thrill as well. Not quite as sexy as Jake Guentzel, but pretty sexy nonetheless. So Phil Kessel, power play talk on the other side. But first, I got to shout out Sleeper. Canuck fans, we're in the stretch drive, and oh, baby, you still cheer for the best goddamn team in the NHL. Hey. But hey, if you want to be the best at something else, make sure you play Daily Fantasy Hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is my number one choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey. Because with Sleeper, you could win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Sidney Crosby, JT Miller, or Jake Guentzel will record more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more in a given game. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Canucks fans. You could win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability.
Okay, we back. Kyle Ballin, Trevor Beggs talking everything about your Vancouver Canucks, okay? Because they're just doing everything every day. And they're in every rumor. Every day. It feels like the past, okay? Remember back in the day? This isn't new. We should have got Brad Richards. We should have got Rick Nash. We could have got Scott Niedermayer. You know what I'm saying? We're always in these rumors. We could have got Matt Sundin. We got Matt Sundin. Bro, Vancouver's sexy, man. It's a sexy destination. It's sexy for the league, even when the league's against us. And I think it's just inevitable that a first place, second place, third place Vancouver Canucks team would be involved in so many rumors, man. It's one of those teams, man. And look at this, okay? Mr. Whale. He wants his cousin, the Orca Whale, aka Finn, to win a Stanley Cup, okay? There's no time to golf this year. He's all in. And look at this one, okay? Bikram saying it's already snowing in Yaletown. Oh, no, he said it's always snowing in Yaletown. I think that's okay. I know what he did there, okay? That's a hangover joke. That's one of those things. Anyways, drive safe, one love, and enjoy the game tonight. It's going to look different. I don't know if it's going to work. Okay, straight up. I'm confused. I'm pessimistic. I got theories too. Look at this power play unit, okay? Look at both these power play units. Trevor, do you want to read it for the people? Because I'm a little lost.
All right. So the first unit for the power play practice today was Suter at net front, Garland, Besser, and Miller with Hronek on the point. Now, that was the first unit out, which was interesting. The second unit out was even more interesting, and that was Archie Baines at net front with Myers, Lindholm, and Pettersson and Quinn Hughes at the point. Now, I'm assuming that you're probably going to have Baines down low and Myers at net front, but that was just the way it was kind of tweeted out. But these are some of the most interesting power play combinations I've ever seen in Vancouver, to be honest, man. Like the hockey nerd in me, the guy who loves chaos, loves these units. Do I think it's going to work? I have no idea. But I also find it interesting, too, that the first unit out there was the Miller unit with Hronek. And now we're going to get to it and go to the
Don't
week.
Be looking at...
Hear me out.
You're right, though. You're right. Because I said I was about to come at you because I'm like, yo, relax. You know Quinn Hughes is coming out first. But how about JT Miller, right? So I get it. Continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say, not a great week for Quinn Hughes. Not a great week for Elias Pettersson. JT Miller had an absolute monster week. But yeah, there's so much chaos, right? You think you'd want to split Hughes and Pettersson mainly, but maybe talk to Lacer chemistry. I don't know, man. I got so many thoughts on what's on these power play units, what's going on. I'm super excited to see. I never thought I'd say this. I'm super excited to see Tyler Myers at the power play. I'm super excited to see Archie Baines on the power play. I still think Nils Höglander is getting shafted beyond belief that he's on one of these units. So I don't know, man. I got all kinds of thoughts. I have no idea if it's going to work, but I hope the Penguins take like 7 penalties tonight so that we can find out what these power plays can do.
That may happen, bro, because again, remember, it was kind of feisty the last time these two teams played, and Miller and Crosby both playing at the top of their games, both the leaders on this team. I think they're going to go at it again, and it's going to, cause a little bit of a ruckus or multiple ruckuses throughout the game. Anyways, I got theories, man. I think Tocchet, he's just a little bored right now. Straight up, I think he's looking at this cushion they have in the Pacific Division, and he's still leaning into using this time to figure things out and to press some more buttons. And I know this may scare the city of Surrey away, and it's scaring me, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's business, baby, right? Can't get emotional about things. I saw one of our commenters comment this last week. I want to give him the credit, but I forgot the guy's name. Maybe they're trying to showcase RC Bain so they can raise up his trade value. No, straight up, because this guy, I think he's played well. I don't think he's necessarily played better than Niels Höglander, though. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. That's just the truth. And he's getting PP time, you know what I'm saying? And he's played with Lindholm and Miller already. And he's -3, 4 penalty minutes. He's played okay. He's played good. He's played like he's 76 overall, 77 overall. But when I see things like this and him constantly getting a push, and Rick Tocchet pretty much wrote the most beautiful speech about him in yesterday's little practice press conference, I'm starting to think, they're trying to boost up this guy's value. Because, bro, when I see what I'm seeing today, it's not making sense. And I don't think it's me digging too deep. I think it comes down to what you just said about Niels Höglander. I think he's getting shafted, and maybe you were saying that in regards to him sitting on the power play behind Myers, but man, like he's sitting behind RC Bains.
Yeah, no, it's that's an interesting theory, man. I can't believe that it's coming out of your mouth. I know you're just trying to be logical.
I know, I'm a Hindu. That's my Punjabi brother. I know.
You're talking about RC Bains potentially being showcased and traded, man. Unbelievable. The Surrey boy, okay? The pride of BC.
I know.
Fourth ever South Asian player ever in the NHL. Man, I'm kind of shell shocked right now, to be honest.
No, I
don't know what I'm more shell shocked by, the power play or your comments.
Dude, I know. I'm pro Surrey, man. I love RC Bains, bro. Straight up. This guy's doing a lot for us. I'm just a little confused. And bro, I got the West Coast bias lenses on all the time. I also got the Surrey lenses on all the time. And I'm saying what I'm saying. Because I'm confused. Like, this team has lost 4 out of the last 5 games. You want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not necessarily on fire right now, but they're willing to press these types of buttons. When I think the obvious choice to get the power play back to at least an average rate is moving Miller back on the half wall alongside Quinn Hughes and splitting them up. Like, now physically, like, not even having them on the same set is just weird to me, because those two are deadly. It's not like the one-timer thing. It's not, you know what I'm saying? But it's a different type of pacing when those two are quarterbacking the power play together from the top. And we're not going to see that tonight.
Yeah, we are not. But Kyle, I do wonder, are we going to see Phil Kessel on the Canucks power play soon? I mean, ultimate chaos has broken out in terms of these power play units. You know what? Add a little more chaos, a little more thrill to the situation. Be Phil the Thrill himself. I will say, latest update from Rick Dollywall from Czech TV, Donnie and Dolly. Phil Kessel is still on his conditioning, still practicing with the Abbotsford Canucks. The plan is to get him on a conditioning assignment, maybe play a couple of games with the Abbotsford Canucks, and still trending towards him signing with the Vancouver Canucks.
I heard it's the other way. I heard that he wants to like sign first and then do that little conditioning stint and then play with the Vancouver Canucks. And it's not him playing games for Abbotsford before he doesn't have a deal. Dollywall also alluded to it trending towards, this happening, this contract being signed. Phil Kessel is becoming a Vancouver Canuck because this future Hall of Famer / 3-time Stanley Cup champion, he's like, what? Is he like living in Abbotsford right now? This guy's been there for 2 weeks. Bro.
Yeah, I love to know where Phil Kessel's staying, man. I spent a couple of days a week out in Abbotsford, man. I should go hang out with Phil.
Do you know Thug Pun? You know who he is? He's from Abbotsford. He's a Surrey. I think he's like, I was about to say he's a Surrey legend. That's me typecasting, but he's an Abbotsford legend. What's Phil Kessel doing in Abbotsford, man? I want to know. Because I think he's reading books. So many things happening with your Canucks, man. This team is too entertaining. All in all, they got a game tonight, and they got to keep they got to keep it going, man. They got to keep it going. They got to keep it moving. They got to get another dub. And I'm predicting that JT Miller is going to be a huge part, a big part. Like, another standoutish performance is going to happen tonight from JT Miller. That's going to put him more in the map of the NHL. Like, you know how earlier this season we had one of the biggest hockey podcasts, one of the biggest sports podcasts of all time, talk a lot of ish about JT Miller. There was actually somebody from Vancouver talking about this guy being a merchant, right? I think the dude's name was Pasha. Calling this guy a power play merchant gets all... Dude, watch what JT Miller's going to do here for the next 30 games. He's going to put himself on the map. I'm talking about, 20 games and then the playoffs, first round of the playoffs. Like, this guy's going to put himself on the NHL map, and his story's a remarkable one, and he's an outlier player, and I think we're going to see more of that tonight against Crosby and the Penguins. I know we got to do Goats of the Week. A lot more to talk about. Trevor Beggs, who we shouting out again on this episode of Locked On Canucks?
All right, we'll wrap up the show on the other side. But first, we got to shout out Camino Consulting. All right, our sponsor once again today is Camino Consulting. You've heard of our online families and couples course and taken advantage of the Locked On 25% discount running to the end of the month. But what about live seminars? What about them? In both sport and business, the challenge in differentiating candidates and recruits is an endless battle. Everyone can demonstrate their measurables and qualifications, but we all know it is the intangibles that matter when those things are similar. Make sure you contact Camino Consulting for their team and management seminars to get a peek behind the curtain and watch your next recruiting class or hiring group become one of the most effective you've ever seen. Both because you identified the right candidates and because you've learned how to communicate and motivate them in accord with their own preferences. But you aren't in business management or working with the team, you say? Guess what? Camino Consulting, they pay referrals. Make some money making your workplace and favorite teams better. Every group works together better at the end of the year, more than once a week. So contact Camino Consulting at caminoconsulting.ca and get on the fast track to understanding.
Whoa.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay, we back on this conversation about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs, and this is what? Locked On Canucks, okay? The show that gives you your Canucks every day, and it's easy to do this job when, well, this is not a job, first of all. What do you do? This ain't a job. It's easy to do this when the Canucks are winning, but also when they're just in the mix when it comes to every single player out there. I wouldn't be surprised if Mario Lemieux's going to make a comeback with the Vancouver Canucks, man. Straight up. I was thinking about that the other day, and
Jesus.
They said that Tom Brady may come back, right? Mario Lemieux's still looking good. You know, straight up. You're talking about championship pedigree? Bring that guy in. Okay? Straight up. Speaking of championship pedigree, become a champion, okay? Win a couple tickets to a Canucks game at the end of the month against the Los Angeles Kings on March 25th. Again, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and also subscribe to my Discord. The link is in the bio below. And after you subscribe, you know, have fun, talk to us. You know, we talk about a lot of things on my Discord. I'm all over the place, including your Vancouver Canucks on the Only Canucks channel. Drop a message so I can put you in the raffle, okay? Because I'm new to Discord. Organizing all these people joining, send me a message, okay? So I know you're on there. Anyways, Trevor Beggs, man, oh man, your favorite animal, a goat, right? I don't know if you know this, but Trevor Beggs always talks about the best players of the week for your Vancouver Canucks. And we like to call it what? The goats of the week.
All right, the goats of the week this week on Locked On Canucks. And sometimes weeks are tough for different reasons. This week was tough because it wasn't the best week for the Vancouver Canucks. Obviously, they ended their 4-game skid against the Boston Bruins. Easily their best game of the week, although they played pretty well against Colorado. But that game against Minnesota where they lost 10-7 kicked off the week. And then sandwiched in between all that was their worst game showing, which was against the Seattle Kraken. But I'm going to start at number one because it is no secret at all. It's JT Miller. He's number one for the second week in a row. He's number one in the yearly power rankings here on Locked On Canucks Goats of the Week. JT Miller, again, he was just an absolute stud, especially that Boston game, dragged the team back into the fight, all those cliches. 5 goals, 9 points in 4 games.
What?
Unbelievable stuff. Yeah. And again, we talked about it yesterday, and Kyle, you talked about it on the weekend when you did your solo show, but you know, JT Miller is kind of carrying this team over its past few games. And for him to step up at a time where Pettersson's been struggling, you haven't got much out of Elias Lindholm. Quinn Hughes has arguably had his worst stretch of hockey. It's meant a lot to this team for Miller to step up and play the way he's been playing.
Dude, the Canucks were 20 minutes away from losing 5 straight games and doing so on national television, okay? Straight up. It was so close. JT Miller, he was the catalyst, and I said it 5 minutes ago, he's going to do it again tonight. Who else you got on this list, okay? Because I'm assuming that this was not an easy list to make.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm going with Brock Besser at number 2 on the Goats of the Week list. Again, he had a big week himself. 3 goals, 6 points in 4 games. Obviously, a couple big bingos against the Boston Bruins to help seal the victory. And at number 3 overall, I have their line mate for most of the week, Pius Suter. Pius Suter is just playing good, steady hockey right now. He piled up some points last week, 4 assists in 4 games. Again, I thought he looked good on the penalty kill as well. I would argue he was one of the best penalty killers over the past week. So that Miller, Besser, and Pius Suter getting in the top 3. At number 4, I have the big man, and I'm not talking about Tyler Myers. I'm talking about Nikita Zadorov. I think he had his best week as a Canuck. Got a couple of points. He was buzzing in that third period against the Boston Bruins. Scored a goal as well in that crazy game against the Minnesota Wild. I think he's looked like a better version of himself since coming back from suspension from a couple weeks ago when he hit Lucas Raymond in the head. And at number 5, this is the toughest one of all. And you can call me biased. I don't care because it's our show, Locked On Canucks. I'm going to RC Baines at number 5, baby.
Wow.
Relative to expectations, this guy performed better than I expected, earning the trust of Tocchet. Unlike Kyle, I don't think it's just for showcasing him for trade. I think he's actually performed well and looked good. Look, he's had his bad moments too. He's a guy who just played his first 3 NHL games. But honestly, it's 2 things. It was a week where not a lot of other players played well. I actually thought about Ilya Mikheyev as well. He had a bit of a bounce back week. I thought he's been playing better hockey of late. I thought he looked good on his minutes on the penalty kill. I'm going with RC Baines at number 5, baby.
Yeah, man. I know what you did there. You know, you're a true Surrey boy. Again, if you're new to this program, Trevor Beggs and I, 30 and a half years old, we have a long lineage in Surrey. Trevor known for a lot of things in Surrey, one of the best beer pong players out there. He's had a lot of blackout nights there that are pretty infamous, and he's also one of the few people who actually invented this whole Surrey Jack thing. They used to call this guy TB. TB. Yo, TB, what's up, yo? So I know this guy's pro Surrey, and he gives RC Baines in a week where he's -3 or -4, 4 penalty minutes. I know there's a good moral victory there, but yo, Trevor, this is 2024, okay? There's no moral victories. There's no moral victories this season, okay? You know, where's Noah Juleson?
I've told you before. You think Noah Juleson had a better week than RC Baines? I mean, he has defensive gaps as well. I mean, there was some good and bad in Juleson's game. Well, you really think Juleson? Okay, who else do you think was better than RC Baines this week? I looked at that -3.
Okay, let me. Dude, that's a great question, man. I thought, okay, Garland.
Yeah,
Garland
maybe
got his ass kicked by Tanev. No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Oh, dude, come on, Philip Hronek, dude.
I thought he had I thought he had some bad struggles this week too.
Okay, you know what?
I think they were on the ice for 6 goals against and 2 goals for even strength. It wasn't a great week for them.
I was trying to call you out for the moral victory, but I get it. You did the math, and it was slim pickings. And, you know, we talked about this in Seattle when RC Baines was still playing with like 7 or 8 minutes left in that game, and was a part of it being that, okay, he's playing well. He's not a defensive liability, sure. But the other reason why he was still playing was because nobody else was going. Speaking of going, okay, Phil Kessel is going nowhere, dude. Somebody just told me that he saw Phil Kessel at the Costco in Abbotsford. I don't know if I believe that, okay? I don't know if I believe that. Hey, maybe I believe
That's
this,
too
man.
good to be true.
Look at this, Mr. Whale. This is the first year of Vancouver's dynasty. Okay? And then we also had G. Ellis, man. Where's the comment? I can't find the comment now, but he just said that Steven said this, okay? He and G. Ellis went to number 5 Orange to watch the game on Saturday, okay? Buffalo chicken wings, 50% off, I'm assuming. Their hands are dirty. They're at a strip club, and they're watching the Canucks game at 4 o'clock, man. That's exactly where I want to be. Licking my fingers, watching the Canuck game at the number 5 Orange, man. Come on, man. That's something else, man. How about this? Okay, last question before we get out of here. Big question. This guy's the biggest Quinn Hughes fan out there, Trevor Beggs. Does Hughes pull up his socks and fend off McCarr for the Norse, a.k.a. I'm going to ask you this. How do you feel like what do you expect from Quinn Hughes to do to end off the season? Okay. Big stretch of hockey here. I'm assuming he wants to win the Norris again. Tier 6, Tier 7 defenseman going into the season from the eyes of many. Okay. Straight up. That East Coast bias BS. He wants to win the Norris. He wants to stick it up to everyone in the NHL who's been doubting him. Well, what do you see him doing? And take into account that the Vancouver Canucks probably want to play him less because he's about to play 30 minutes a game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I just think he needs to keep doing what he's doing. And you look at this last week, he still played over like 25, 26 minutes a night, right? And honestly, he had his mistakes, but I look at some of the goals against, and I think Hronek was probably more at fault than Quinn Hughes, right? So sometimes it's just luck of the draw, you know? I think, yeah, not his best hockey, but at the end of the day, you know, things got to even out over time. The Canucks have had a lot of good luck go their way. But Quinn Hughes, we know it. He's absolutely dynamite on defense. He's one of the best skaters in the league. He's one of the smartest players in the NHL. He's one of the most offensively gifted players in the NHL. Oh, and yeah, he can shoot the puck now as well. Quinn Hughes, I think he's had a far better season than Cale Makar, to be honest with you. You know, I'm reading those defensive metrics. I'm watching Cale Makar play a bit more. And yeah, he hasn't been as sharp either as he has been in past years. So this is the year for Quinn Hughes to win the Norris. Who knows what the future years holds? But yeah, let's not lose sight of the fact that this is likely the first ever season where Vancouver Canucks defenseman will win the Norris Trophy.
Dude, but answer the question. Give me a point total. Okay, there's how many games are left? 20 games left? 22 games left? 22 games, right? 22 games left. What's like? Give me. I don't even know the number. Okay, just can you give me a point total? Because in July, in August, you're the first one who said that Quinn Hughes is going to get 100 points. You called it. You called that Quinn Hughes was going to have this prime time of a year. You moved back in time 5-6 years ago before they drafted this guy. You were one of the only people on the internet saying that, use this pick to only draft Quinn Hughes. So you're the whisper. Like, what's he going to do here in the last 20 games? Is he going to get to like 95 plus points? Like, what's the number?
I think he's sitting 100 points. I think this is the season for him to do it. So they got is on pace for 95 points right now. 16 goals, 95 points. I'm gonna say it. I think he gets 100 points.
Dude, I love it, man. Look at Richard. Okay, he's saying that it's pretty sketchy eating anything at the number 5 orange. Bro, I'm not judging strip clubs, man. I'm not doing it, man. Maybe they got sanitizer bottles everywhere, man. It's all good. I'm down to lick my fingers and eat some. I'll dip my finger in the ranch and lick it, man, at a strip club. Okay, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs, Locked On Canucks. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It really helps us out a lot. Hey, you want to help yourself? Maybe you can go to a Canuck game at the end of the month, March the 25th. You and somebody else, okay? We're giving away 2 tickets. Subscribe to the channel. And also, again, subscribe to the Discord. We'll be doing a lot of writing there. And you can chime in, right, with your text or also your voice. And if you chime in with your voice, maybe we can hear you on this program right here, Locked On Canucks. Why not? It's got to be the people's show. If you want to, again, enter the contest, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Discord. Trevor Beggs, sign us out.
A shout out to each and every one of you, whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener, a first-time listener, a new subscriber, or you join us here on the live show on YouTube. We love each and every one of you. Go Canucks, go. Coming up later this week, we will touch on the latest in terms of insider information about Elias Pettersson, potential trade rumors, and let's talk about the league-leading Vancouver Canucks as well and what they're going to do against the Pittsburgh Penguins in tomorrow night's game. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy is Kyle Ballard, and you've been listening to Locked On.
Peace out. Enjoy the game. Draft safe.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.